So as if in this video, we'll be talking about the important questions related to the functional interface, right? So the very basic, or I must say the very first question that you will get into your interview, or you should have the idea about, is what exactly is a functional interface, what it is. So as per the definition mentioned here, a functional interface in Java 8 is an interface that contains only one abstract method. So let's say we are having an interface, my interface. Okay, that is the name of the interface, and here it is having just one abstract method, as if mentioned here, void display, right? So just one abstract method is there. So this interface is what? My interface is what? This is a functional interface. Now you can get another question related to that when you will be, mentioning that definition. Okay, whatever your name is. So okay, Soumya, you mentioned that just one abstract method. So can't we have multiple methods here? What if I have one default method also? What if I have one static method also in this interface that you have just specified, my interface? Then in that scenario, is it not going to be a functional interface? What will be your answer? Obviously, it is going to be a functional interface. See, it can have multiple default or static methods, but the condition is that there should be just one abstract method. It is essential, it is mandatory for an interface to be considered as a functional interface, right? So I'm sure that now we are clear with what exactly a functional interface is, right? So can we proceed with the next question? So this question I have just specified, right, that like you will be getting another additional part, that if an interface can have multiple methods and still be considered functional. So I already mentioned this, right? So here just an example for you. So here this my functional interface is a functional interface, right? And see here it is having just one abstract method, and you can see here it is having one additional default method as well, right? So the next question would be, what is the purpose of @functional interface annotation? So right now, if you will see here, there is no such annotation. I have specified above also, I gave one example, but I haven't put this annotation. But if you will generally check, right, your functional interfaces, you'll find this annotation. So what is the purpose? What is the significance of having this annotation? So this annotation basically keeps you on a safer side. I mean, you must be wondering like how. So let's say you have a functional interface defined. Let's say I'm having this interface. I have to use this interface as a functional interface. Now, what happened that somebody, some other person, some other coder, some other programmer, they were not having the idea about it, and let's say they added one more abstract method here, right? Obviously they can add, right? But in this scenario, if they added one more abstract method, this interface is no longer going to be a functional interface, right? Okay, so to stop such case, or to let the programmer know, hey, this is a functional interface, don't just add one extra abstract method, it is not right. What we can do, we can add this annotation, right? Let me show you also, so that you can get a better understanding. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible here. So let's say I have added one method, void display, right? And if you want, you can add further default methods or static methods as well. It won't affect, like, this function, this interface will remain functional interface itself. Okay, now I want like I'm going to use this as a functional interface further in my code, and whatever facilities has been provided, but other person don't know. So they said, okay, let's add one more method here, void draw, one more abstract method. So she has added one more abstract method. So now it is no longer a functional interface. I don't want to create such a mess. So to be on the safer side, what I will do, I will just use this interface annotation, functional interface. Okay, so now let's say if a programmer Princey is trying to add here void draw. So see, here is something red, what it is. So saying invalid functional interface annotation, it is not a functional interface. So you are violating the condition of an interface being a functional interface. That's why here you can see. So Princey will get the idea, okay, this is Soumya is using this as a functional interface. I should not add this method here in this interface, right? So I hope now it makes sense. What is the use of @functional interface, right? Let's hop on to our next question. Okay, so this is the next question. So if they're talking about like functional interface, then definitely lambda expression will come into picture. So you can have the question that what is a lambda expression, and how it is related to a functional interface. Well, talking about a lambda expression, so it is a way, okay, it is a way to denote or to express an anonymous function. Now comes the thing that how it is related to functional interface. Like this question I have been asked, exactly the same question been asked in one of my interviews, right? So see, by using lambda expression, see, we understand what is a functional interface, right? So for the implementation of that abstract method, right, that we are having in a functional interface, you don't need to have a complete class and you are doing the implementation of that specific method in that class. You can do that by using lambda expression too, right? Because see, just one method is there, so we'll be sure that what method is being called, because just one method is there, right? So lambda expression will help us to achieve the same thing, right? It will help us to achieve the same thing without implementing a class, right? Okay, so I know as of now you must not be able to understand what exactly I'm trying to say. So let's see the code to get a better understanding. Let's see the code, right? So I hope you can see my screen, right? So this is a functional interface, my functional interface we are having, right? And here we are just having this, obviously, one abstract method, right? That is only allowed. So now I want the implementation of this specific method. So how? By using lambda expression we can achieve the same. As I've mentioned that you don't need to create a separate class. So the functional interface, right? So my functional interface, okay. So now what is the syntax basically of the lambda expression? So first of all, you have to refer our method. Our method is taking any arguments? No, right? So we'll have this parenthesis, right? This parenthesis, then this arrow sign, and see, as of now, I just want to keep just one statement. So I'm not going to use those curly brackets. So I just want, right? So here I'm just having display the result, right? Display the result. So that's it. That's the implementation of the method of my display method, right? So obviously now you have the implementation. Next thing is that we have to call this method. So we'll be calling this method my function interface dot display, right? Okay, so let's execute this one. So here you can see we're getting the output, display the result. Furthermore, let's say one more example. So void display, let's say this time we are having two integer value a and b. Okay, so yeah, this is obviously you'll get error here. Now a and b. So if you want, you can specify the type of a and b, but anyhow it would be recognized, so you don't have to mention specifically that they are of integer types, but if you want, you can. Okay, so now here it would be just doing the result is, so here we can display the addition of a and b. The result is a plus b, right? And then see here, display is now expecting two arguments, so we have to provide those two arguments, right? So now let's run it. So you can see the result is 9. So I hope you got the clarity, right? Now how lambda expression is helping us in the functional interface. I'm not going too much in depth because I am thinking that you are going through the interview question, so you must be having the idea. But if you want me to specifically talk about a lambda expression first, properly, and then get into the much detail, you can just let me know in the comment section, right? So this question is done. Let's hop on to our next question. Now just to check whether you have the understanding of some other built-in functional interfaces. This is already in Java, right? So you can have this question as well, that if you can provide some example of built-in functional interfaces that we do have in java.util.function package, right? So you should have the idea about this as well. So I mean, for examples, if you are talking about, so the first one is the predicate, right? So this is for Boolean valued functions, right? Function for general functions, right? So predicate we have, functions we have for general functions, and consumer we have, which is basically for operations that accept arguments, but yeah, they don't return a value. Like they consume, but they don't return a value. Okay, so here you can see the example as well, that as if mentioned, right? So predicate is for Boolean valued function. So see, it is returning, like if a number is greater than 0 or not, a Boolean value would be returned. Here the function is doing some sort of like general operation, right? So consumer here, what it is doing, like it is accepting the arguments, but yeah, it's not returning value, it is printing the uppercase of a given string, right? So yeah, that's what, like, you should have the understanding of the built-in functional interfaces as well. So let's open to okay. So we have discussed about lambda expression, right? So there are high chances that interviewer may be interested to know that whether you know about method reference or not. So maybe the next question that he or she can put up is that how does method reference related to lambda expressions, right? So if talking about the method references, like what they actually it is, so maybe in simple terms you can say that it is a shorthand notation, or a short way we can say to represent lambda expression, right? Method reference basically it does what, it provides us a way to refer to the methods or constructors directly, right? It simplifies the syntax when compared to a lambda expression, right? So I know as of now you must not be understanding to this, so let's move to the code part, right? So I hope you can see my screen. So here let's say we are having this list, right, named as names. So it is having three elements here, Alice, Bob and Chris, right? So now how we can do the iteration of these elements which we do have in this list, if by using lambda expression. Okay, but before hopping on to this, you must be wondering that how we are able to use lambda expression here. So if you will just check here, this for each no, so this for each is present. For each is a method, that is default method, that is present in this iterable interface, right? In this iterable interface we are having this, and if you will see for this for each method, so it is taking this consumer interface. Consumer interface we already discussed, it is nothing but a functional interface which is having a abstract method which is what, accept. So it takes an argument, right? It performs the operation on the given argument, right? So here if you will see, it is taking an argument, performing the operation as mentioned or as specified. So that's why we are able to use what, lambda expression here. So here we are doing just nothing, we are just iterating over our list names, right? And we are just printing the name. So we are doing this by using this thing by using lambda expression, right? So we are doing what, we are referring to this existing method. So instead of doing in this way, this thing can be achieved by method referencing as well, that just we are mentioning the existing method name here. So what is the if we are talking about the syntax for this method reference, so you have to mention your class or instance. So here we do have system.out object, right? You have to use this method reference operator, and then you have to specify your method name, which is here is println, right? Which is nothing but println here. So now if I will execute it, so from both of these we are going to achieve the same outcome only, right? So here you can see Alice, Bob, Chris and Alice, Bob, Chris, right? So let's hop on to our next question now. Okay, so here's our next question, that is explain the default and static methods in interfaces that were introduced in Java. So as you know that before, like in interfaces we were not having that you can define the function, right? We were just declaring the function over there. But in Java they introduced two methods, default as well as static methods, right? Default as well as static methods. So I mean, why they were needed, what was the requirement, what is methods actually are? So this question is regarding that. So if talking about default method, right, so you must be knowing that in regular interface methods, what are they? They are implicitly public, right? So you don't need to specifically mention it as public. It is public only. So that thing applies on default methods as well, right? So now what is separated first of all in terms of syntax wise from a regular method? That is, with default methods we have to use the default keyword at the beginning of the method. Okay, let's do in this way that let me show you the code part itself. So I believe in that way it would be better, right? So just a minute. Yeah, here we go. I hope this screen is visible. So let's say this is our interface, right? This is, although this is our functional interface here, so we want to have a default method. So as specified that first of all you have to for a default method you have to use the default keyword at the beginning of the method, right? So default wide draw. Okay, so I am drawing, that's it. I mean, as of now I just want to mention this much only. Okay, so this is how we define a default method in the interface. Now you must be thinking like, what was the need actually? Okay, so sometimes just see whatever methods are there in the interface, we know if a class is implementing that interface, right? Or I mean, an interface can have one or multiple implementations, right? So if we are adding one or more methods to the interface, so forcefully it is needed, whatever class is implementing your interface, you have to implement all the methods that has been mentioned, right? You have to implement all the methods that has been mentioned forcefully. But there could be thing that, let's say there is a method fly, which we are we are having one interface, and this interface is being implemented by multiple classes, right? And it is having a method fly, let's say. Now let's say class A needs the method fly, but in class B there is no relevance of implementing that method, or let's say it is not going to work for it anyway. But as if it is implementing interface XYZ, let's call it XYZ, the class B is being forced to do the implementation, right? So to avoid such kind of scenario, to deal with this kind of issue, what has been told, what has been implemented in Java 8, what has been like the feature that has been introduced, that was default methods. So we can in our interface itself we are having the method defined, right? Now this method can be further overridden, whatever classes are implementing this interface, so they can override that specific method, and no class is being forced to implement a specific method, like if you are declaring it as a default method. Okay, let's understand this with the help of an example, so you get the better understanding. Let me take other interface, so to keep the things clear, and let's take one interface. Yeah, let's now name it as result. Okay, yeah. So here we take a string show marks. Let's take one default method, show grade. As of now, I mean, just randomly, I'm just taking one example, show grade, right? So okay, this is the grades. Okay, fine. So this is the interface we're having. So it is having one method, one abstract method, and one default method, right? So now let's say some class is implementing that. Let's take class, new class. I know I'm naming and all, I'm not giving that proper, but yeah, just to make you understand about things. So implement result. Okay, so here you can see add unimplemented method, return, say just doing 45. Oh, this is missing. Yeah, return 45. Now let's say we are having one more class, new class, let's call it as B. Now that is also doing the same thing, implements result. Yep, B. Okay, unimplemented method we have added here, and 88. Cool. Now see default, this, what was our default method? Our default method was show grade, right? So see, now our classes A and B, they have not been forced to implement that method, right? Because it's a default method. So that is the thing. Now actually here I want to explain one scenario, that's why I did this in this way. So let's take one more class which will be having our main method, and yeah, let's take one more class that will be having our main method. New class main. Okay, we are already having here, sorry. Yeah, so we are already having this here. As of now, let me comment all this for a while. Now let's say we are having our class, or okay, let's say we are having result new A. Okay, now result dot show grade. So let's run it now. Run as. Okay, so you can see we are able to access it, right? We are getting this is the grade. And similarly, if we are taking result 2, let's name it as of now new b class, right? So result 2 dot show grade. So here we'll get C. Okay, now what I want now, let's say class A is saying, okay, I want to override this method, this default method I want to override, right? So what do I mean? That it want to override our show grade method. Okay, so here it want in this way, class A, we are doing class A, right? Class A grade. Okay, fine. So now let's go to our main class again and let's run now, because see, so this time see, we have overridden this default method is overridden in class A. So this time we are getting class A grade, and here this is the grade. Now what if here also in class B also we are doing the same thing? If here also we are doing the same thing, source and override and show grades, and here sys out class B grade. Okay, get back to our main method, run it again. You can see we're getting class A grade, class B grade, right? I hope that it does make sense to you, right? Now, so as of now everything is working fine, everything is working sorted, right? But the actual problem comes up, and even you can get the similar kind of question during your interview as well, that what will happen when a class is implementing several interfaces and both the interfaces are having the same default method. So let's do in this way, that my functional interface result is having this one, right? So we are having this my functional interface also, and here it is having this show grade. This is also having show grade. So now in class A we are saying that you are implementing result, implement my functional interface as well. Okay, fine. So it is okay. So we have implemented my function interface. So it's saying to, as of now, let's comment it. Let's remove that also. And yeah. So let's run it again. Class A grade, class B grade. Okay. So it's working fine as of now. What I'm doing that class A, from class A I'm removing this method. Okay, I have removed the implementation. So see, you can see we are getting error, right? Why this error comes up? See, it is saying duplicate default methods named show grade with the parameters are inherited from the types my function interface and result. It means that here we have in class A we have two interfaces been implemented, result as well as my function interface, and both of these interfaces are having the same default methods, right? So now what will happen? Our the code is not going to compile, because it will create a conflict, right? Because of multiple interface inheritance, and this problem is also known as diamond problem, if you have heard about it. And now to solve this ambiguity, or to make the things sorted, what we are supposed to do is we have to explicitly provide. Although I told before that for default method you don't have to explicitly force your class to provide the implementation, but here in this scenario where we are doing the multiple interface inheritance, and these interfaces are having the same default methods, you have to explicitly provide the implementation for the methods, right? So yeah, that is the thing. So I hope you got the understanding about default methods. So next what comes up is static methods. So let's get back to our interface. So static methods now. First of all, static methods are not something object specific. Okay, they don't belong to a particular object. You cannot say that they're a part of a specific API of the classes, right? We can say they belong to the interface, right? Or you can understand in this way, when we're defining a static method in an interface, it is kind of similar to that defining in a class, right? We can invoke a static method by using the interface name. Let's say here we are having the method static void show name. Okay, and so here let's say Samya. Okay, and get back to our main method, and here we are having result dot show name. So by interface itself we are able to call that method, and you can see we are getting Soumya, right? So I think that's the simplified way to just specify about the static methods, right? So I hope you got the understanding of both the static methods as well as the default method. So that's how you can explain, you can give the examples like whenever it has been asked in the interview. So this sort of understanding you should have, right? So let's hope. Some of the questions that you'll be frequently asked when it comes to the topic functional interface, right? So let me know if you want me to make more such videos. I have gone through these kind of questions during my interview, so I thought to share with you all so that it can be helpful for you. So let me know if you want me to make more such videos on the topics, on the interview topics, and also definitely I'll work on them, I'll record them. So thank you so much everyone for watching, and don't forget to share the video because it will help me, it will kind of motivate me to make more such content for you. You can follow me on other platforms as well. Link is there in the description. Thank you so much for watching everyone. Bye bye.